Well, we're talking about tonight, Lake City Quiet Pills. It is the internet's biggest mystery. So this started on Reddit, one of the biggest rabbit holes that I have stumbled down for quite a long time. Reddit is a site for linking content, videos, pics, posting stuff on there. And they have something called subreddits within Reddit with other content. So like PewDiePie has his own subreddit. There's like movies, games, bunch of other stuff, right? That you can find on Reddit. It's just like a never-ending hole. So these subreddits are moderated by people. Mods are not paid. It's volunteer work. They volunteer their time to mod a subreddit and pretty much try and keep people in line from breaking the rules on the subreddit. And the mystery that we're about to dive into tonight, guys, Lake City Quiet Pills, starts on Reddit. Revolves around a user called Religion of Peace, or ROP. Depending on how lazy I'm feeling, I'll either call him Religion of Peace or ROP, or ROP maybe. So we're gonna dive into his background on this user and just kind of talk about him. It's a lot of information, so we're gonna kind of set up things before we dive into the Lake City Quiet Pills. And by the end of this, you should start to see all this stuff just start to link together and maybe make some sense. And then we'll discuss what your guys' thoughts are on about it. Religion of Peace, he created his account back in 2007, around the start of Reddit. So Reddit was founded in 2005, and it's already fourth largest site in the world. From browsing through his history, you can determine a few things about this person. He acted as a mod, an admin of this subreddit called Jailbait. It's as bad as it sounds. Yes, it is. Trust me. And of course, this is before Reddit cracked down on a lot of these subreddits. His job was to keep things under control as a mod for this subreddit, Jailbait. And Jailbait was a subreddit featuring girls who looked underage, may be possibly underaged. It was a specialty type of subreddit. It's as close to child pornography as you can get without breaking laws. It's pretty nasty stuff. Okay, was it all legal? Probably not. Probably not. So it shows what type of people or persons hanged out on the subreddit, right? You'd have to be kind of a disturbed kind of person to really enjoy that kind of stuff. This subreddit was closed down in 2012 because Anderson Cooper did a piece on it. And of course, it was bad publicity for Reddit. Like, we can't have this. And so they shut it down. And of course, you can still find porn. This type of porn, no longer. They cracked down on a lot of stuff. They've been cracking down on a lot of things, actually. Second thing we can determine from Religion of Peace, he was a very angry person. He commented on a lot of news and political content. So many of his comments are as quoted, "Fuck off and die. What a shithole. I'd rather they fap away to a pic than nail some kid," are some of his quotes. He was a pretty grumpy old pervert on Reddit. The third thing we can determine about this person is that he presented himself as someone who has a military background. On Reddit, he got into a lot of conversations about the CIA, Army, his time in World War II, operations that might be going on in the CIA that are happening around the world. He had knowledge on what type of piano wire could kill someone. So we know three things. He had a military background. He talked a lot about CIA politics, his time in World War II, knowledge of what type of piano wire can kill somebody. He came across as a grumpy old fart, very vile, very hateful, and he was a mod for this subreddit called Jailbait, which was shut down in 2012. In one of his posts, he said he enlisted in the US military at the age of 14. Skeptical. I don't know about that at the age of 14. He was present at the Battle of Normandy. One person asked and inquired about his presence at the Battle of Normandy. He replied with the following: "I was there, but I was passing 4mm cannon shells on a troop ship. I didn't get into any conflict until going to Jerusalem. It was an exciting time to be alive, fighting the food fight." His next post would reference World War II. "I was in the Navy till 45. I didn't see any land combat till Palestine till 47. I saw it then, both sides, then continued seeing it till I got too old." He referred to himself as an old man, upper 70s, and on multiple occasions he said he was born in 1930. So this person entered the service at the age of 15, around 14, 15, yes. What did he do after his retirement from the field? Well, he found a job working with computers, out of all things. Back then computers were becoming a little bit more known, and they're kind of expanding, right? So what better time than that time to get into computers? One of his posts he made a reference about iron keys. Iron keys Now keep this in mind. This is a very important thing. Which are encrypted hard drives favored by Intel operatives, often used by people with very sensitive info, and they don't want other people to see it. Remember that, iron keys, right? So if you have sensitive information, having one of these is perfect because it's very hard to hack to get the information. More than likely, you probably get destroyed before you get any information out of it. So the majority of his time was spent on the jailbait subreddit. Horny old man sitting there in his 70s just spanking off to this jailbait subreddit. He would often direct people of that subreddit to a specific website. You know, the link would take you to a website called LakeCityQuietPills.com. Yes. Oh, this is where the Lake City comes in. It did not match what the website actually was. It was an image hosting site that would host many of the jailbait pictures. Lots of risque images. It was owned by Religion of Peace. So remember, back in the day, Reddit didn't have the option for you to post your images, post your videos, right? You needed an external site like this one or Tumblr or something in order for people to see your posts or to see your pictures. It would say, want to post pics of jailbait women on the subreddit? Use this site. Bing, bang, boom. Easy. Fappage. So by 2009, the website Lake City was filled with images of porn, of women, of girls. Many people didn't think much of it. July 17th, 2009, he made his last comment on Reddit. States as followed. I reported a couple hundred obvious bullshit Reddits. Shit for roofers, lawyers, local businesses. Shit like that. Just those one-off that spammers make, thinking that we actually look at their postings. So that was his last post. Insert new user here. So soon after Religion of Peace posted his last comment on Reddit, a new user popped up. 26 was his name. It was 2-6. And it was roughly 4 hours after the last comment left from ROP, titled Religion of Peace died today. Now you're probably going to be thinking about something here probably, right? Is this person Religion of Peace? And I got the post right here. I'm the person who provided Religion of Peace the space for that old guy's image host, which is what he called Lake City Quiet Pills. So Milo was Religion of Peace's name. Milo died today. He was 79 years old. He died at his desk looking at your site. Milo was a mean old fucker. He hooked me up with my first gig when I got out of the army. I didn't like finding him like that. Milo don't have any living relatives and no real friends. And other than this landlady and a few people where he worked, he didn't talk to anyone about much of anything. Me, he just tolerated. As I said, he was mean. I think he used that as a shield to keep people away. Milo thought God was some kind of con game thought up by some lazy sons of bitches who didn't want to work every day. So he's going in to the fire on Monday without a service, just like he wanted. I'm planning to dump his ashes in the woods in the PA near where he was born. Can't put them right there because there's a mall there now. I gave the girl next door his raggedy old cat, most of his books, his computers, and electronic shit he tagged for the disabled vets in VVA. All the rest of the stuff is for the salvation. All those years and everything he owned fits in the trunk of my car. I don't know what else to say. I'll miss him, you miserable bastard. That was 26's post. The post did have a lot of spelling and grammar errors, you know, which is kind of weird. Maybe they didn't care about the grammatical errors, but it was a very emotional post. And a lot of comments were left there saying how much people will miss Religion of Peace, how much they touched their lives. Kind of weird. 26, who made the announcement, only responded to a few comments. One person calling this death a hoax. 26 replied back, "You are an ass. Milo was my friend. I was taking him to dinner on Friday. He worked at home most days. I had to call his manager, so thanks to that. I don't know why he liked this stuff." A couple days later, 26 saw the outpour made to ROP, and he posted another post. God damn, didn't know so many people could like him who didn't sling a gun with him. So thank you. I'm out of here. I don't do this stuff like you and Milo. Take care. Keep the faith. Interesting how he says keep the faith, right? Religion of Peace. Keep the faith. Posts from 26 and going through ROPs. There's so many grammatical errors. Makes you think, did a child write this? Was someone just having fun? Is this kind of like a hoax happening? But again, 26 returned to Reddit and left a comment. If you're interested, this is where Milo is now. And he linked Google Maps. The location was on Google Maps, southeast of Gettysburg, right near a shopping mall, like they said. Said he used to own the land and that his ashes were to be spread there. If you click on the link that you find, it actually goes right near the shopping mall, and now they're going to be building a hotel there now, I guess. That's what I found. So over the next few months, people got curious about this, about Religion of Peace, about 2.6, and people started to dig into Religion of Peaces and 2.6s to see what they could find. So they started to uncover some weird, odd, and fucked up things. Pretty unbelievable things about 2.6. Reddit users were going through all this and scouring the internet. They were able to find similar sounding usernames to 2.6. One of the names was Angel26. User was on a website called fark.com. So it's basically like Reddit. It's the same thing as Reddit, but a little bit older. October 11th, 2001 is when this username Angel26 was created. 2001. They commented a lot on rifles, ammunition, weaponry. They also seem to have a military background. And their signature that they left, which was a motto of some sort, was stated like this: dispensing Lake City quiet pills to lousy bastards in need of permanent rest since 1968. That motto, keep that in mind, okay? They linked their email through the Lake City Quiet Pills website. So it's like, okay, Religion of Peace, 2.6, this Angel 2.6, are they the same person? You know, ROP owned Lake City Quiet Pills, and this person's linking their email address through that website. Kind of weird. So they had some connection to ROP and 2.6, whatever that may be. And so Redditors dug even more, right? They started just digging even more. They found another site, ironically, called Dig, which is exactly like Reddit and Fark, yet even older. On Dig, someone had same account under the same name, Angel26. 2007, Angel made a post on Dig. It has been signed by another user. Who was that user? Religion of Peace. What do we know? They knew each other, or they were the same person. Maybe Religion of Peace and 2.6 were the same person. Maybe Religion of Peace was somebody else, and Angel 2.6 and then 2.6 were the same person. Or maybe it was just a giant hoax to start this big mystery. Not a big deal. That was until Redditors dug into the Lake City Quiet Place website and its code. This is where things get a little bit weird. A little bit weird, okay? Just follow me here now. They found weird, hidden, strange messages dating back years in the HTML code. You'll find there's a government-owned and operated ammunition plant called Lake City Ammunition Plant, based out of Independence, Missouri. And the plant was created back in 1941, testing small arms for U.S. military. And to this day, they make 1.4 billion rounds of ammo, single largest maker of small armed ammunition for the U.S. Armed Forces. Keep that in the back of your mind. That's a shit ton of ammo. So the Lake City pills, it looked like a normal site considering all the jailbait porn, right? So some individual noticed if you inspected the HTML code, they found hidden messages within the code itself. First thing was a motto that they found: dispensing Lake City quiet pills to lousy bastards in need of permanent rest since 1968. The same motto from Angel 2.6 on Fark. Coincidence? Underneath the motto was a lot of random info, names, acronyms. No one knows really what it means. This was stuff regular people weren't meant to find in the code, right? You know, no one should have been digging around in the code. Religion of Peace maybe thought they're being pretty sneaky with this, until Redditors came along, of course. So there's details about who had what info, and following that info was something that looked like job listings within the code. Mercenary work, assassin work, hitmen work, army work. Here's an example of one of the messages within the code. Shade is maintaining the calendar and access to the field dump. Angel has the job postings for the EU and Asia. We aren't sending anyone to ME, no one. Don't ask for listings. So here's another post that was found in HTML code. Immediate need, 8 to 10 Chinese Korean, fluent Korean dialect accent, details after contact, 12-week half pay, secretion refusal. All these were hidden within the code, all being updated weekly, bi-weekly, daily, as if they were job postings, right? So this got the attention of Reddit users saying, look, this is weird. What else can we find? A lot of these use acronyms like W/W, which could have stood for Wet Works, which means assassination hits. The HTML code was full of these postings. So speculation is that the image hosting site was a job posting site for assassins, mercenaries, hitmen, black ops, etc. This is what people were speculating because of all these weird messages and these like weird little job postings. So next part is probably the most important factor in these stories. Hidden message. Same day as ROP's death. Said, I am sorry to tell you old Milo died yesterday. He went out quiet and calm. Not like we all figured. I gave his fat mangy cat of his to the little girl next door. No services or nothing. You know Milo. Taking his ashes back to his farm. Well, as close as to it anyways. There's a mall where his farm used to be. Hoist a few to the old man. Remember what he said. Keep with the man who got your back. That message was in the code itself on the Lake City website the same day ROP passed away. 2 months later, another message was posted. For those who have asked, I bricked Milo's iron key. Remember what the iron key is? Bricking is when someone destroys the device and all the information on it. So Religion of Peace had his iron key and it got destroyed by this person. So no one could find out what was on that hard drive. November 14th, 2009, 2 months later, another message appears. Milo's wheel cleared. Probate. Surprise! Milo was loaded. Email Shade if we sent you out between 2005 and 2009. Shade will have checks cut for you. Amount is by how many times, not by paid, totaled. 3 to 4K. So, of these posts were just loaded with tons of grammar errors. It's kind of funny, but it kind of makes you think who's writing all this stuff. January 2009 was another post. Happy New Year, having a birthday party for the old man, the 19th. Starts at 1500. Send RSVPs to Shade, FYI, booking room for 3 days, come hoist one for Dutch Milo, getting a cut of his will. This was a post, kind of seems like they're all getting a cut of his will, they're all going to have a fun time, you know, just like a bunch of hitmen, assassins, kind of, think like John Wick, right? They're all just getting together, having a couple brewskis for Milo. They're having a good time, keep that in mind, and we'll come back to it. Redditors have made some crazy connections to this alleged party, okay? One connection they made is kind of crazy. One connection they made was to one of the most intricate assassinations the world has ever seen. Mahmoud al-Mahamud assassination. Man, that's a hard name to say. Who was this person? Mahamud was the chief of logistics and weapons procurement for Hamas military's wing, Izzadin al-Qassam brigades. Many see Hamas, we'll just call it Hamas because that's a very long word and this is very hard to pronounce. I don't think I pronounced it correctly. So many see Hamas as a terrorist group. He's been around for 2.5 decades. He had a reputation in Hamas because back in the late 80s, he claimed credit for killing 2 of the Israeli soldiers in 1989, both killed on separate incidences. He was put on the most wanted list, most wanted in Israel. Al-Mabho was alleged to have played a key role in forging secret connections between the Hamas government in Gaza and the Al-Qaeda forces of the Revolutionary Guard in Iran. He became the target of assassinations over the years because of this. He was a big player. Let's just say that. The first assassination that was put on Mahmoud, we'll call him Mahmoud. The first assassination was a car bomb. He survived that, of course. The second, though, was a bit more of an intricate take on him. These assassins tried to use radioactive poison, which rendered him unconscious for 30 hours in 2009. This was carried out by an elite assassination team. Some think poison was slipped into his drink. Some believe the poison was left on light fixtures in his hotel room. Not many people knew how this happened. He recovered without knowing it was an assassination attempt. So he didn't know he was being targeted that time. Since he didn't know he was being targeted, he continued on with his life with normal precautions because he just thought, hey, I got sick, I'm fine. Unknown to him, there was a security breach on his PC. And on this PC, he used to arrange his travels, right? And what happened with his PC is that a Trojan horse was used to access his PC, so which allowed an outside user access to his dealings. So when he arranged a trip to Dubai without bodyguards, he would be alone and vulnerable. And someone with this knowledge began making arrangements of their own. So the person that hacked his computer knew that he was going to Dubai, knew that he would not have bodyguards, and knew that he would be staying in a hotel somewhere in Dubai. January 19th, 2010. He arrived in Dubai under a fake name and with fake passports. That same day, around 11 men and women arrived in Dubai with their own fake name, and passports. The moment he left the airport, that was the moment he was being followed. As he checked into the hotel, 6 people checked in to the same hotel as him. And all around Dubai, more people checked into other hotels that he would frequent. So these people that were tracking him, they all spread out because they weren't sure which hotel he was going to. So they all had to check in to separate hotels to make sure they knew where he was going. They knew his spots to go, so they had everything covered, all right? So they knew where he'd go. They knew his favorite places. They knew which hotels he frequented. They had everything covered. They were all waiting in the lobbies of the hotel for Al-Mood to come through, okay? And there's actual footage. You can go on YouTube. There's actual footage of this that you can watch from the security cameras. Men following him from a distance. People going into restrooms every so often just to change their disguise. Women's going in, into the bathroom as a blonde. They're coming out as a redhead. So he checked into the Al Bustan Rotana Hotel. And as he entered, there's 2 men wearing tennis gear in the lobby, carrying tennis rackets. And I must say, terrible outfit. Why would he choose that? He makes his way to the hotel room. One operative follows him, while the other one stays behind, relaying to the others where he is. And they all begin to emerge onto his location. Room 230 is where they learned he was staying. They followed him to this room, and as soon as they found out which room he was staying at, the other man requested a room right across from his. Room 237. This would be the headquarters of the operations. So all other operatives are now in this one room across from Mahmoud. So Mahmoud would leave his room, and then he would leave for a couple hours, and he went shopping. And of course, these operatives, while he was shopping, they followed him to keep an eye on him. While this was happening, while he was out, the other operatives had to figure out a way to get into his room. A way that was less evasive so people wouldn't suspect a thing, where he wouldn't suspect a thing. So what they did was, using the door's electronic system, they hacked it, which they're able to get into his room. They didn't want to attract no attention at all. They make short work of the lock. There's even one point where someone comes out of an elevator and one of the operatives goes to distract the person while they work on this electronic lock for his hotel room. So as he returns, he enters the room normally. But as he enters the room, he's unaware that there are multiple people inside waiting for him. Can you imagine you're out fucking just shopping? Like, oh, what a beautiful day in Dubai. I bought a Ferrari. I don't know. A leopard skin pants. I don't know. And you go back to your room and then turn on the lights and there's like 11 people inside the hotel room. It's like, hey, what's up? Let's fast forward. 20 minutes later, operatives begin exiting the room one by one. And then they begin to exit the room one by one from their other room. Within 4 hours, they had killed him, left the hotel, and were out of the country. His body would not be found till 12 hours later in his hotel room. How did he die? This is interesting. They didn't find his body till 12 hours later. When they came upon his hotel room, he missed a call from his wife. That was it. The room was locked from the inside. So it looked like it was natural causes that he died from, until they did an autopsy report. The report showed that he was first paralyzed with an injection of succinylcholine, which is a fast-acting muscle relaxer. So what this thing does is that it paralyzes your muscles. You go limp. You're conscious through the whole thing. You can't move, but you're aware of everything that's happening around you. Then they found that he was electrocuted, possibly to stop his heart or try to stop his heart. And then they pretty much said, fuck this. They took a pillow and they smothered him to death with the pillow while he was aware of everything happening to him. Now you'd be asking, okay, when you leave a hotel room, you just close the door and then the electronic lock locks, right? Well, you know those the chains that you put on the door? Well, when they found the door, somehow the chain was put back into its locked position. Somehow these assassins found out a way to lock the chain on the inside of the door to make it look like, as a natural cause, which I have no idea how you do that unless someone jumped out the window. So this was an insanely well-crafted assassination. So it's kind of scary to think that there's actually groups out there like this that are capable of this kind of thing. So I guess Hollywood's not too far off with these kind of movies. So the interesting part of this was not the first time in Dubai. These people that did this was not the first time. They had all been there within months before this happened. So a lot of people were speculating, oh, they were there months before. They did dry runs, hitting up every hotel. If you stayed at this hotel, this is what we're going to do. If you stayed at this hotel, this is what we're going to do. So they had all their bases covered months before this happened. And remember, his PC got hacked, so they knew his routine, they knew where he was going, they knew what was happening. It was fastest way in, fastest way out, how to hack the doors, etc. All these people, all their passports were fake. On the videotapes, they have images of these people, but none of the images matched up. because a lot of them were wearing wigs or disguises, right? Since they had these passports, all those regions were dragged into this. Several of these operatives made phone calls to a number in Austria, speculating that that was their coordinator for this assassination. Almost all the assassins used something called a Payoneer, like a prepaid credit card. They thought this was branded in the USA, but the CEO of this company was speculated to have been having direct ties to Israeli intel, due to being a victim of high-ranking member of Hamas, which is a terrorist organization, as well as being a long sought-after target of intel forces. So it makes sense for Israel, they might have been involved in this. That guy that got assassinated, Muhammad, killed those Israeli soldiers back in '89, and of course a bunch of other bad shit, right? A month later, February 2012, several nations put the assassins on Interpol's most wanted list. Up to 18 people were put on this list. Since they all had fake IDs, fake passports, they had no idea who they were. To this very day, they are unknown and they have never been caught. 18 people, pics of their faces shown around the world, and no one has fessed up to this. Little weird, don't you think? These are the regular people. They just look like normal people. They look like they work out of the office, you know? So is this their actual photos? Yeah. These are actual photos. French and British Foreign Affairs said the passports were faked. So this led Ireland's department to critique the nation of Israel. Why would they do that? It said that Israel, they helped create and distribute these fraudulent passports. Why would they do this? Israel refused to comment on this. Of course, the USA, being the big dick brother of the world, many wanted the United States to step in. And you know what? They did nothing. They even refused to hand over the card details of the prepaid cards, the credit cards that they used. They knew who the people were who used these credit cards, but they're like, fuck you. We're America, we ain't doing nothing. If they did show these receipts, okay, it would have shown who backed this entire operation. That's the question here. This being the biggest high-profile assassination, and we still don't know nothing, it's kind of whack. Why did we talk about this? What does it have to do with Lake City Quiet Pills and the hidden messages? This is where we're going to start to kind of piece things together, okay? This is what it's all been leading up to. A week before the assassination, a message was posted within the HTML code on January 10th, 2010. A week before the assassination. Talking about the party for Milo's. Remember that? Inviting people out around 1500 hours regular time. 1500 hour fit in with the time when Al Mabhut flew into Dubai. Another part of the hidden message, we got 38 rooms in the Marriott on 46th. Shade has the key cards from locals. Pick up at the party. Give your travel name to the desk. No ID needed. Since we're covering the bill, keep room service under 500, okay? The phone there are not secured. Bus from hotel leaves at 13:30. Car service vouchers for the return trip for when you're ready to return. Don't drink and drive. So this was in the code for Milo's party, okay? Who needs to worry about phone lines, right? For when you're going to a party. So like a lot of questions here about the messages. Who would need to rent out 38 rooms in a hotel for a party? Why would you need a travel name if you're just going to a party? A lot of this matches up with what happened in Dubai. February 2nd, 2010. 2 weeks after the assassination, another post was made in the HTML code on Lake City Quiet Pills. Here is the final for the party. Hotel rooms, 48,341. Limo, 6,080. Bus, 569. Bar bill, 18,890. Food, 8,030. Dancers, 8,300. Tip, 850. Expenses, 2,840. Medical supplies, 180. Fat Tommy and Stu are okay too. Total of $94,080. You all did Dutch Milo proud. That's $100K for a party. What kind of party was this? Why did it cost so much? Who the hell attended this thing? The site continues to post these weird messages, job postings after this, until the spring of 2010, 2 months after the assassination. And around this time, this was around the time Redditors started to post about this on the Lake City subreddit. When this happened, the site's HTML code became encrypted, and shortly after, the site was taken offline. They encrypted the site twice. Then Redditors broke through the encryption, and then they encrypted the website again. But this time, it was a BGP encryption, which you need a code. you need a key code to get into the site. And in order to get that key code, it has to be distributed. So it's kind of pretty shady on that part, right? As soon as this information gets leaked, the site gets encrypted and taken down. And that was the Lake City Quiet Pills. A lot of people think, was this a hoax? Was it real? ROP and 2.6, are they the same person? A lot of people think this was a live action role-playing game. But honestly, I mean, that's a long time for a role-playing game and a lot of work. If this was a ploy to get more people to the site, why would you raise the popularity of the host site and then take it down shortly after? When you break down the numbers and possibly how many people were in on this, $100,000, and then you pay that out to 11 people, which is not bad. You guys like it? What'd you think of it?